Okay, hello everyone and welcome to this session. We will be hearing from John Koetsier, who is a journalist, analyst, and futurist at Forbes. And we will also be hearing from Peggy and Salz, who is the lead analyst and founder at Mobile Groove. Okay, they will be discussing engagement, retention, subscriptions, to top actionable tips from the world's best mobile marketers. Okay, so make sure to ask questions throughout the session so we can get some answers, and I will hand it over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And guess what? You got my name right. That's awesome. I tried to convince Danielle that, Peggy's last name was Salz. She didn't fall for it, unfortunately. But
sorry.
Hey, here we are. Nobody gets my name right. So that's a huge bonus. Hey, we're talking about engagement, retention, subscriptions, top actionable tips from the world's best marketers. And Peggy, that's us, right? I mean, we are the world's top mobile marketers. I mean, extensive track record at Lyft and Uber and,
Well, I would say we interviewed some rock stars there, but we pick it up. We pick it up. It's osmosis is what it is. We've absorbed it.
So actually, we are not global experts in mobile marketing, but we do a show that's called Retention Masterclass. It's a video podcast. Look for it wherever podcasts are, and you can get on and listen to what we say. We talk to the world's best marketers, and then we steal their ideas. And then we give them to you. It's kind of like that guy that stole fire from the gods and then brought it. I think he was cursed forever. So that's bad for us, Peggy, but it's good for everybody who subscribes to our podcast and is listening right now. So today we're going to share the pearls of the pearls, the best of the best, our favorites, and just have a conversation. Is that cool, Peggy?
That's cool with me. And you should say 25 shows. So 25 marketers. Yeah.
Wow.
And we've been talking to a lot of them. I mean, when I think about them, Masterclass, right? Ogilvie, we'll go through them. That's what we're here to do. We'll go through the top of the top, but it is, it's a year now. So it's quite a lot to share.
We do one show a year. So we've been doing this for a quarter century. So it's amazing. I'm just joking about that.
It feels like it.
Peggy, let's start with you.
Okay.
One thing you wanted to highlight, we're talking about flows, customer flows. I'm guessing, especially you're saying flows are dead, especially in the era of COVID, and marketing teams need to reflect this. What are you talking about?
Well, I wanted to start at the beginning. I'm one of those people, John. We could go into all the cool ideas.
Medias res.
I want to do the beginning. And I was thinking about, of the 25 shows, what have we learned? And what we've learned is that you need to start somewhere, which may for marketers sound like, yeah, that's clear. But no, that means that your marketing teams, because many were only acquisition and retention was down the hall. Now that's changing. That's obvious. That's clear. But it's not enough to have the teams together, working together. You have to work together with some sort of structure. You have to organize around how people are using the apps and services that you produce. And what that means is, how I get to the flows are dead or the funnels are dead, is we started out, sure you know it, day 1, day 7, day 14, day 30. Works for some, not for all. And that's what we're beginning to understand. That cycle of thinking is off the mark. You have to adapt to real retention. We heard that a lot in our shows. It's we had healthcare apps, where they don't want you. You should not be using the app and be sick, 5 times a week. That's not the idea. So you have to work, and we hope not. It's about real behavior with the app, real expectations, being realistic. And that's a start that gets you in the mindset for this, because it is a different type of marketing. It's a different type of KPI. We'll get to that as well, but that's where I wanted to start.
Awesome.
So I could continue with one more point that will get us to the real actionable stuff, and I'll keep it short. So once you got the mindset, right, and you understand that you need to do this according to behavior in the app, then it's really important to think about a model. And we had a couple of them. My favorite, we had one, remember Jessy Hanley? Retention wizard over at Intuit, right? Hers was great, literally great. I mean, I'm not great, meaning it stood for, it just dawned on me that wouldn't make any sense. No, great, which stands for greet the user, ramp, So there's some activity, you ramp it up, evolve, amplify, treasure. That's sweet. You treasure the user at the end. So she had the great model, right?
That's great.
Andy Carvel over at Feature, he had a different model. The point is that you need a model. You need a lens to look at the behavior. If you can do it in real time in the app, and build a retention marketing strategy around that.
My favorite model is seat of the pants, but that may not work.
But so I could go on about the models, but I don't think I'll do that. I'm going to ask you about some of your surprises and some of your lessons. So I learned to sort of like frame it up, right?
Yes.
But what you have been looking at is once you get them in, how do you keep them there? And we have some great lessons, some classic lessons around just something as simple as you get them in, you have your journey, you took my framework, have a customer journey. How do you add, not remove, add friction to keep them around?
This is a really interesting one. So we talked to some of the best marketers in the world. One of them is Nick Hobbes. He used to lead a self-driving team at Google, right? I mean, this is not an idiot. This is a pretty smart guy. And he used to lead their iOS app as well. So pretty high level. He's now doing Brief, which is a news subscription app. And he said, hey, you need to add friction to customer journeys. Now, this is anathema to what we've heard all along for decades from marketers. You want to remove friction, make it easy for people to go to the next step. And what he's saying, and what we've actually heard from multiple other top marketers in the last, I want to say 3 to 6 months or so, you need to have appropriate friction at the right time for your customer journeys, because you want to create a decision point, right? So this is subscription news. And basically, if you don't make that subscription, you don't get that news. And so most marketers want that smooth, gentle, one step to the next, lead down the garden path. There you go. Hobbes wanted a clear decision point. He wanted a go or no go. It's kind of like Netflix. You can get the free for a month, but after that, it's like all or nothing. Sign up or go away, right? And it's also like Mixtiles. I just interviewed Eitan Levitt, who leads growth at Mixtiles, co-founder there as well. And he wants a clear decision point. And in his case, it's getting customer information, getting an email address. We see that from Wish. The Wish app does that as well. Like if you download the Wish app and install it, the first thing that it asks you to do is, what's your email address? That's when I deleted it. So I was a no-go on that case. But what we find from marketers that are doing this is that they're getting fewer people all the way through that funnel, but the people that they get through become very, very valuable customers. So you add friction, you get fewer people going all the way down the path, but more of them are customers, more of them are paying, and it creates that decision point that otherwise, I don't have to make a call right now. I don't have to do anything. I can just sort of limp along on the free or the freemium product. I can maybe watch a few ads here and there. And you're almost getting desperate as a marketer, kind of begging people, hey, take that last step. And these marketers saying, hey, you know what? My product is freaking good. It's bloody amazing. It's worth your money. Here's the step. Take the step. If you don't take the step, you don't get it. So that was a really, really interesting thing for me, Peggy.
It was also because, as you said, it flies in the face of what you would imagine a marketer wants to do. But if you think about it, it's really smart too, because you want to have people who are willing to engage, willing to stand a little pain for that, and not just have it handed over to them. And the smart thing here also is when you think about what the marketers have been telling us, it's all about trying to fill the funnel from the get-go with people who are likely to retain. In other words, you want quality users at the top. So you do want some hurdles. You just don't want to bring them in, open up the floodgates and figure it out later. You spend a lot of money doing that. So it's a very different approach. Some that probably not many people are going to have, I think, a lot of guts for at this point. you have to really believe in yourself.
It is hard.
You have to believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
But you've also I'll stay with you because I did a couple and I want to get you to riff here as well. Sure. Another thing that might have stood out for you is also, I was saying that you have to think about a framework and work to your audience, but you can also completely surprise them as well. So it's not just the hurdles at the beginning. It might be like a surprise later on. You really are constructing comprehensive, compelling journeys. So what did you learn on that front?
Well, it's interesting, right? I mean, because we've got a couple catchphrases that you and I use as we do our show, right? The retention is the new acquisition, right? Is one of them.
Mhm.
Product is the new marketing. We don't claim that these are original to us. Others have probably said these things multiple times, especially the product is the new marketing one. But we interviewed Brennan Clark, who leads growth at Sago Mini. If you don't know who Sago Mini is, hey, neither did I. I don't think Peggy did either before they
Nope.
reached out to us, but they're massive. They're huge. And the reason we don't know about them and don't hear them, they're in the kids category. And almost everything that you and I think of, Peggy, and most marketers in my experience, we think of stuff that's relevant to us. That's just kind of a human predilection, I guess. And so we don't think too much about kids apps unless maybe we have kids and we're in that world. But they're huge, hundreds of millions of installs, and a really, really interesting thing. Subscriptions are huge there. As you know, in kids apps, you can't use ads that are targeted. Ad monetization is really, really challenging, if at all possible. You can't get a lot of data from these apps either. So subscriptions is the way that they went, and they're being very, very successful there. But they made one change. So they've been working for years and doing amazing things and doing really, really well. And they made one change that increased app opens 15 to 20%. So that's just sit back for half a second and imagine the enormity of that, right? You're working for years. You're clawing desperately for a 0.5% improvement here or there. Right? You're doing A/B tests, and that one's better 57.5% of the time or something like that. They got a 15 to 20% uplift in app opens. And what they did was they added surprise. And that's a new thing in their product. It's a tiny thing. It's a little activity every day with one of their core characters, something different, something unexpected, something that kids haven't seen before. And that gave them massive, massive uplift. And this is a multi-year product, right? That, like I said, it's been in the market for a long time. To all of a sudden get that huge 15 to 20% uplift just by adding one tweak to your product. Now, there's a bit of a lift there, right? If you're adding something new, a new little game, a new little activity, a new little video or whatever, there's some work to be done there, right? But this is a subscription app. This is an app that, people are paying on a monthly basis for. And so they expect some relevant, good, excellent return for that. Actually, the parents do, and the kids aren't paying. And this really, really worked well for them.
Absolutely. And what that tells us is that there are features that you can be thinking about that are going to boost retention. And we heard that. I want to just get into one, maybe if
let me jumpstart you on that one, because
okay, jumpstart me on that one, because I have
almost stole your thunder because I mentioned the product is new marketing, but you're going to talk about that. And we learned about that from somebody very, very interesting. We learned that you have to embrace that and start designing your apps and experiences for retention. Please tell us about PicsArt.
Yeah, I am definitely into product as the new marketing, John. In fact, I've been at a couple different events recently, and you have as well. I can't tell you how often I'm hearing that now. Designed for retention, think about retention. Retention starts in the product. Okay, you have to have a great product, right? But what is a great product? So we got this from Jeff Roberto, VP of marketing, of growth marketing rather, at PicsArt, which has, 1 billion users. And that was when we interviewed him. Who knows where it is right now? I didn't
1 billion
check.
users. Hey, can you just imagine, like, 1 billion users? There's a sizable fraction of the world's population that has interacted with that app and that service and that platform.
That's incredible. And it starts, and what he does is he just keeps on building these cool things. I mean, he was pretty cool himself. He took us through his latest trend and what was it, K-pop. And we, of course, don't have a lot of connection with K-pop, but we tried, and, it was starting with something as simple as, first, you empower your users to make some art, self-expression. We're confined to our homes. Why not? And then, okay, you can store it. And then you can share it and just keep on evolving that product to keep you coming back. And he was looking at trends to make certain that, like the K-pop example, you know, I'm absolutely on top of this trend. That's what's going to be the sticky part of the app, or that's what's going to attract new users or keep my engaged users engaged. Keeps going. We also had Tattoo Peterson Jessen, art director at Rovio.
10 points for getting that name right.
He was a little bit Scandinavian, a little quiet, but you know what he did say, it sort of hit home, and it was just about create. This is for games, obviously, but you can see this everywhere. Okay, core game has to be good, core product has to be good. I get that. And from there, it's the storylines that need to be engaging, the narratives, they need to be gripping, they need to be interesting. And I'll get to one I love with you, because he is talking about the big picture, not just the click-through rates. Which brings me, I think, to some topic that you want to touch upon, which is, you know, the metrics while we're here. You know, we're talking about how to enhance the product, talking about the uplift, you said with Sago Mini, but how do you know you're really hitting it?
Oh man, you're going out of order. You're totally screwing me up now. I'm totally flustered. Won't be able to handle this. How can I do this?
Come on,
it's all
you can
good.
go with the flow.
It's all good. And we got the note from Danielle that we have like 10 minutes left. This is unacceptable. We need another hour. I'm sorry. We demand it.
Yeah, seriously.
So you're talking about benchmarks. We had Brian Balfor from Reforge on Retention Masterclass. And Brian Balfor, if you don't know him, if you don't know Reforge, I mean, that is training from the real top mobile marketers and other types of marketers on the planet for anybody who wants to go there. So their faculty is like people from the who's who of mobile marketing. Really, really interesting.
I think we just call him the man, John.
Do we?
Yeah.
No, we don't do that.
Well, what I've heard about him, you know, people are proud. They say, I've had a Reforge class. It's like, oh,
that is absolutely. Put it on your LinkedIn. There we go. You mount it on your mantle. Awesome. Anyways, Brian Balfor, he teaches those mobile marketing courses, super high end. He said benchmarks are bogus, right? We all want benchmarks. We all want to see benchmarks. What are people getting? What should I be expecting? What are others getting? We want to know that. We want social proof. We want validation. We want to feel like we're not sucking because, you know, or at least we're at the benchmark. He says, hey, a benchmark is based on average. Do you want to be average? Really? Do you want to be average? Right. And he says, hey, everything is different. Apps are different. Contexts are different. The circumstances are different. 9 times out of 10, Brian says, the benchmark doesn't actually help you understand the question in a very healthy way. So what do you do instead of benchmarks? Well, you do something a little harder than a Google search to find what's the average retention rate for apps in X vertical, right? You do something a little harder. You find a small group of other professionals where you share a lot of attributes or adjacencies. You're in ride hailing or ride sharing or maybe on-demand services. Find some others in on-demand services. And you know what? Work together a little bit. You might be competitors, be frenemies, right? Be co-operators. And you got to figure this stuff out, learn a little bit, get some tips and tricks, and you can share that in a small group and it can be super, super helpful. Okay, I got to go back to you. We got to be really, really quick here, I think, but I think I'm going to go for, we're going to talk about experience and incentives to help boost retention and revenues. And we interviewed Lenny Rabin. Tell us what we learned from Lenny and who he works for.
Yeah, Lenny was really very interesting because he's got me into something he's calling the science of rewards. And I think I'm a convert. There's a science here. There's something going on because it's about reward.
Be a guinea pig.
It could be something there, but he's got something going on. I mean, he's drawing from 10,000 campaigns. Lenny Rainbird, he's from Prodege. He's VP of Revenue and Business. And the thing that he was talking about was you need to keep people in your app. You need to keep people true to your service. And you have to reward them, but you have to create rewarding moments. So you create the system within the app that's about retention, again, based on how people are interacting with your app. And what I thought was really interesting is the marketer needs to do this, first of all, in a wholesome way, right? So you have to deliver what you're going to promise. You cannot lie and you cannot cheat. Although,
wow, that
you know,
sucks.
some people, I know that sounds like a real to do, right? But no, you seriously can't, because it's very tempting. You can sort of say, you know, buy one, get one free, you know, but there's all this small print. Don't go there. Do not go with the small print. That was number one. You got to offer it. And the other thing was to be very individual. And this is to your point also, when you think about it, about the paywall with our man from Brief, you know, this is about a little bit of tough love. You don't give them the reward. You notice what the behavior is. You see what they value in the app. You see what they would stay there for, but you don't give it to them right away. You should delay it. Again, that hurdle. It doesn't sound like you would do that. It doesn't sound like you would say, you're going to get this reward right now and redeem it, convert it into virtual currency for your game or whatever. No, wait, because they can't have the feeling they can just engage today and leave. So 30 days, not a problem. The lesson, you know, again, don't give it away.
This
The
sounds
longer
like tough love. You sound like a really nasty parent. Wow. Where's my Porsche on my 16th birthday along with my driver's license? Come on.
It's tough love. Marketers, I think marketers have to learn tough love. I think this whole idea of, you know, give the customer what they want, you know, consumers want it, how they want it, when they want it, where they want it, because mobile makes that possible. Maybe there's something here that says, you know what, go for the complete opposite and amaze people, give them a surprise, give them a hurdle, don't give it to them all at once. And that brings me to, I think, one of my favorites, probably our longest show. But if you take the time to sit and really dive in, yeah, for all 40 plus minutes of it, full of great advice and the black art. What can you tell us from our alchemist?
Peggy had a neat connection to Rory Sutherland, who is like a VP of something or other at Ogilvie and like a grand old man of advertising and marketing and everything. And frankly, a twisted genius, perhaps not twisted, but definitely genius. Yeah, super smart. Rory is that odd kind of podcast guest where A, you click play and let them talk, and B, you're happy to do so. there's lots of podcasts guests, so you have to ask them and then you drag stuff out of them. And there's others that you can't shut them up. You can't shut Rory up, but you don't want to.
You don't want to. No.
So he talked about traffic as a metaphor for marketing funnels, right? By the way, this is our dark arts episode. Look it up. Retention Masterclass, Rory Sutherland talked about traffic. It's a good metaphor for marketing funnels, right? And he talked about, hey, you can widen a road, but there's no point if it narrows 500 feet down. In other words, don't open up the top of the funnel and spend huge dollars when you don't have conversion and retention fixed. Good message on Retention Masterclass, Peggy, I would think.
Yes.
He said, if you have anything sequential going on in behavior, it makes sense to optimize from the end backwards. Get your repeat purchase and your retention fixed before you start worrying about acquisition. Get your conversion fixed before you start worrying about brand advertising. Otherwise, you're just bottlenecking. You're just moving the traffic jam somewhere else, and you're spending way too much. So he's an expert on brand marketing. He's an expert on marketing, period, and brand. And he gave us this quote that I'm going to reproduce verbatim because I think it's worthy. He says, now that's not to say that brand communication isn't hugely important and widely deserving of a lot of attention, but arguably it should be the third thing you get right, or even the fourth thing, not your first point of focus. Because if your website isn't converting well, your app, if you create customers and they only buy from you once, then you could produce the most brilliant ad campaign in the world, maybe the most performant mobile ad campaign in the world, and it won't make you very much money. So he was a glorious guest, wonderful, so much fun. One of our most I'd go out on a limb and say our most popular episode, even though it's probably our longest. And there's just kind of pearls of wisdom dropping from his lips every time he speaks.
Absolutely. And we've had it really from all angles. We've gone up and down the funnel and learned so much and shared so much here. I'm watching because I know Danielle may have bring us some questions, although we could riff for another hour easily. I think we do have questions. Do we have questions in chat? Let me just check.
Do not see them.
Oh, we have 1 minute left, and that was like 5 minutes ago. I'm just kidding.
Actually, no, it's still a part of the 1 minute mark. Unfortunately, we're not going to have time to go into any questions. If viewers do have any questions for you guys, is there anywhere that they could follow you or get in touch with you from here?
No, we're very private people. We're not on any social media at all. Can't see
Gotta
us.
block everybody.
Forget about it.
Oh, John. Well, you can find me at Twitter at Peggy Ann, okay? ANN and the E, very important, the E.
And with
You'll
an
find me.
E, like Anne of Green Gables. Wonderful. And I'm at John Koetsier, and you can't spell that last name, so don't even try.
I like what your AI did to your name. What is it? What was it, John, again?
I forget, but it massacres it differently every time. Yeah, AI is
Absolutely.
overrated.
We'll leave with that thought.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for this conversation today about designing with retention, just kind of going everything that you guys are talking about. I look forward to listening to your podcast from here on out. I'm sure you guys are going to get a couple more listeners as well with this session.
A couple. I heard 10,000. That was a promise.
Okay. Perfect. 10,000's coming your way. But thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day, and thank you for talking today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Danielle. You've been an amazing host, and you have put up with a buffoon here and a wonderful person in Peggy.
I'm so
Thank you, Danielle. You let us riff. I enjoyed it. We have to let loose sometimes, right?
Yes, always.
John, more than